also think about how you would like to spend your ideal weekend. Now, it's not real. Someone said it's real. No, there's nothing you have to do, no one you have to be with. Right. So what would that ideal, perfect weekend be like? So what I'm going to ask you to do is I'd like you to share what that ideal weekend will be like.
Sitting on my deck in the sun reading a book.
All weekend. All weekend. Perfect. Okay, thank you.
I don't sure.
Okay, all right. Now, what would your ideal weekend be like?
No work whatsoever.
No work. No.
Spur of the moment, just go for it.
And what would it be? It's an ideal weekend.
Shopping, meeting friends, movies.
All right. Movies, friends. How many friends?
Maybe like 5.
Okay. How many movies?
Only one.
Only one. Okay. How long would you shop for?
Hours.
Hours. Okay. All right. What would you do?
Shopping, dancing, being out with a lot of people.
Okay. How many people in your party?
A lot.
Good. Hundreds?
Oh, not that many.
Okay.
Like 10.
10. Okay. All right. Good. What did you notice about this group?
Boring.
No. We're all wonderful, right? But what happens? That's what happens. We have those assumptions about people, but we're all wonderful. But to an extrovert, that might be boring, right? But opposites attract, right? Everybody can't be going all the time. All right, so this group was a group of what? Extroverts or introverts? Introverts, right? How did you know that? You get your energy from within. So, and also the amount that they share. We only heard a very little bit, except for you. You share a little bit more about going to the casinos. But for the most part, it was really, I asked a question, they answer the question. You know, and it really is, you get your energy from reading, relaxing, whether it's sun or not, but it's just really, you don't need a lot of people around to get your energy from. A book and sort of individual activities might be preferred. Versus the other side. Now, what did you observe about them? They like to party, they're fun. To other extroverts, it's fun, right? Okay. A lot of people, as many as possible, in and out. You heard lots of activities. You heard, things. There's shopping and movies and events. Yes, Jackie.
You could even hear the energy building as they were describing those.
Now, can you imagine if you put them all together?
Of course we can.
You have that many friends. I mean, they're kidding each other as they're going. Because they're extroverts. Truly, they're an extroverted group. As many things as you can do, as many activities as you can possibly cram in a weekend, the more energy you get to do more. So let's go through some of the characteristics. They speak to think. They shoot from the lips. Before the question's even asked, the extrovert has a response out on the table. Right? They speak, they think, and they speak again. That's the process that they use. They're very easy to get to know. They tell you lots of things about themselves, whether you want them to know or not. If you're in the grocery store and someone starts talking to you, it's probably a lonely extrovert, and they just want to And because they talk about a lot of things, they have a breadth of knowledge, then trial and error is easy. They say something, it doesn't work, they just say something else. Someone asked me last week, Lori, thank you very much. You really changed my life. You made the most significant comment. I go, oh, I'm sorry, I don't remember. Because I speak so much that whatever I think I say, sometimes it's good, and sometimes I wish I hadn't. Right? But it's that breadth. You can talk about a lot of things with a lot of people and get energy while you're doing it. Right? Now, the opposite in the world of introversion, thoughts, concentration, reflection. They process, they think, they speak, and then they think again. So after the extroverts are all generating all this energy and activity, the introverts need to blurt out the response and make sure that their thoughts are heard. If not, we miss extremely valuable information because what an introvert says, they mean to say, and it is extremely valuable. But sometimes in large groups, we miss that input, and it's really a loss for the organization. They're harder to get to know. They have to know you and trust you. That's why they consider deeply before acting or sharing. And they tend to have a depth of knowledge in certain areas because they focus their concentration, reading, reflection, and hobbies in one area. So what happens in the real world? You're in a meeting. You ask a question, who's going to respond? There you go. Now what happens if I only hear the extroverts, we close it down, any of the thoughts? Okay, great, finish. What happened to me as a team leader?
Missed a large piece of information from other people.
And overall U.S. population is 50-50 introverts and extroverts. It seems like they're more extroverts, but only because they talk more. So what can you do before every meeting that you have to make sure that everyone's thoughts and ideas are brought out on the table?
Go to each person.
You could do that, and that might take some time. But you could solicit information. Politicians.
You can do what Jackie had done, write things down, because then they're going to write instead of they don't have to speak it.
Absolutely. It's called silent brainstorming. You have everyone write down their thoughts instead of verbalize them. When you open it up, everyone's had a chance to think, process, and then share. Do you ever do agendas before your meetings? Yeah. Now be honest, please, in this response. When do extroverts look at the agenda? At the meeting. Thank you, whoever said that. Thank you. When do introverts look at that agenda? When they get it, right? Because it's valuable think time for the people in the world of introversion. They're actually going to do it, think about it, come prepared to meet it. Extroverts process live, so you just end up walking in, what are we talking about today, and you go. If you can do that, what has happened is you bring everyone really, give them an opportunity to prepare for the meeting. And then when you facilitate the meeting, you have to make sure you call on everyone who has not spoken. And maybe not first, but last. As you end up, is there anything else you have to add? And then specifically call names to make sure that you solicit the information. Introverts have so much to share, but sometimes we don't stop long enough to solicit it. There are only a few of you that are 30 on either side, which are extremes. Everyone else is in the middle, right? So it would mean as an extrovert, you've learned to listen and pause. I can't do very long, 5 seconds. And then I realized that if people have not spoken, then I have to do it. So it's a learned skill. So either way, you have to make sure that you have everyone's thoughts and ideas. Because what happens is that sometimes if people don't speak up, for instance, introverts don't share their thoughts, there's some misunderstandings and misperceptions about that. What do people think if you don't share?
They don't care. They don't have an opinion.
Unfortunately, people think that they're disengaged or they don't share, but really it's probably the fault of the facilitator or the meeting leader because they haven't stopped talking long enough to let that person speak. But we have those negative assumptions. And the same thing goes for extroverts. What do you think of people who never stop talking? Come on, introverts, tell me what you think. Please stop. Enough, they're wild, gregarious, loud, pompous. I'm sure you have lots of words for this. So either way, we have misunderstandings, but some people just have to learn to appreciate that type of communication. Now, it's really important in a conflict situation. When do extroverts want to resolve the conflict? Yeah. When do introverts want to resolve the conflict? So it's a conflict just there, because extroverts want to do it now. So the learning is extroverts have to back up and let the introvert have time to process. And then the introvert then would have to step up to the plate and answer sooner rather than later. Do you know who you are? Whether you're an E or an I? What I'd like you to write the letter, whether you think you're an E or an I, on a piece of paper. Yes? Well, the Myers-Briggs, you can't, as an adult, the Myers-Briggs type indicator says you cannot be in the middle. You have a preference, one or the other. So you will not have a 0, you will not have an undeveloped or U, but you will be one side or the other. And if it's an even score, it will put you more toward the I. Yes? One question.
You may behave one way, but desire to be the other way.
It's who you are. It's not who you're trying to be. So, and a great example of that is there was an executive at a company that I can't mention the name, and he had been hired an executive coach, which gives you a pretty good indication as to what's happening if they give you a coach, right? His people said that he didn't value them.